there, fantasy owners. Welcome to Lift the Cup Fantasy, or LTC Fantasy as some people call it. We're going to take a look at the top 20 defensemen that were recently taken in the 2022 NHL Draft. Take a peek at who kind of projects good fantasy-wise for you. It's more for your Dynasty fantasy owners when you hold on to prospects, keep them in your farm system, and bring them up after they play a certain amount of games. So you projects to be better offensively, etc. Who might not have very much fantasy value. If you are chiming in via YouTube, don't remember to hit like, subscribe, and remember that notification bell. If you're listening via podcast, appreciate all you listeners out there. It really does make this all worthwhile. Hopefully help you out a little bit and help you with your fantasy team. So we'll get right into it. First defenseman off the board was Simon Nemec from the Czech Republic there. He's drafted second overall by New Jersey. He was ranked at number 3 in the European skaters for NHL scouting. He's a big boy, decent size, 6'1", 192 pounds. And some quotes that came about from different websites was he's an outstanding two-way puck-moving defenseman, and he displays high-end hockey sense. When you're looking at D-men, I really like hearing the phrase hockey sense or hockey IQ, so that's a good thing. He's a strong and accurate puck distributor, also has a very good point shot, and has tremendous power. So you do like hearing about the shot, that means more offense, etc. Very good puck distributor, so probably going to get some assists there for you. Defensive game is just as impressive as his offensive mindset. So that tells me if he can play both ends of the puck, he's probably going to play sooner than later. He's not going to be a long-term project. Obviously, if he's drafted second overall, he's probably not going to be not playing for too long. He might make it as early as this year, might take 1 year, but shouldn't be too long till he's in the show. The Hockey Writers website do rank him on fantasy potential, and his offense is rated as a 7.5 out of 10, so really high up there, and defense is 7 out of 10, so you can see that he's projected to be a very well-rounded defenseman. Next defenseman off the board was David Jiricek. He was drafted 6th overall by Columbus. He was ranked number 4 among European skaters according to NHL scouting. He's a little bit bigger. He's 6'3", taller, I should say. Weight's about the same, 190 pounds. What some other websites have said about him: he has a cannon for a shot, defends well, and can transition from defense to offense quickly. Those are all things you want to hear when you're trying to draft a defenseman and see how he projects fantasy-wise. Textbook definition of a two-way defenseman, and really doesn't have too many holes in his game. Again, that kind of projects that he's probably not going to have to season very long until he is playing in the show there. One of the most explosive skaters among D-men. So that you like to hear. You need to hear about skating for sure. His strengths are strong two-way game, shot, skating, and gap control. So the shot and skating, those are key points when I'm looking at defensemen to draft for my Dynasty League. And the Hockey Writers website rated as potential fantasy upside. Offense is 6.5 out of 10, so fairly decent, not quite as high as Nemec. And defense 8 out of 10, so projected to be better defensively than Nemec, which means he's probably going to make it to the show, just might not quite have as much offensive upside. Third defenseman off the board was Kevin Korchinski. He was drafted 7th overall by Chicago, so right after Jiricek there. He was ranked number 7 among North American skaters. Decent size, he's 6'2", 185 pounds. Some of the things different websites have said about him: his skating has improved over the last year, that some scouts now say he's the best skater in the draft class. So that speaks volumes if some are projecting him, that's how good his skating is. Because if you're a little slow of foot, it takes a little longer, and sometimes you don't make it to the show because of your skating. Possesses superb vision and puck handling. That's what you want to hear. He does have good vision, good puck handling. Has a knack for finding teammates and scoring areas. Those are other things you want to hear from defensemen, because you're basically the puck distributor up on the point there. So you want to be able to find those guys in those open areas. So probably going to get a lot of assists. Listed strengths are skating, vision, puck handling, and confidence. All things you want to hear about. The hockey writers rank his fantasy hockey potential as offense 7 out of 10, so really nice, high up there. Defense 5 out of 10, so you might be more offensively minded, obviously a little weaker on the defensive side. Fourth defenseman taken off. Hopefully I don't butcher this name, sorry, but Pavel Mityukov, drafted 10th overall by Anaheim. He was ranked number 6 among North American skaters because he is playing in the CHL over here. He's listed as 6'1", 192 pounds, so decent size. What they say about him, he's a puck mover that can stick handle with the top defenseman in this class. So that's really good praise up there for sure. The skill is there and he sees the ice well. So that's good if he can see the ice well, and if the skill's there, skating, etc. Strengths are skating and speed. He offensively sees the game, something you want to hear, and aggressive with the puck. So the hockey writers rank his fantasy potential as offense 7.5 out of 10 and defense 6.5 out of 10. So actually his numbers are a little bit better than the guy taken in front of him in Korchinski. Just matter of if he's going to develop to that potential or not, because you're always talking about potential, but it's getting there that matters, obviously. Next defenseman is Denton Mateychuk. He's drafted 10th overall by Columbus. He was ranked number 14 among North American skaters. On the smaller side, he's under 6 feet, listed as 5'11", but 188 pounds. So some of the guys that are 3-4 inches taller, he weighs just as much of them, so a little bit stockier. What they say about him, he's two-way solid puck mover. So that's good that he's a puck mover, able to move the puck. Has the intelligence to know that not all shots have to be looking for the back of the net, and can send wrist shots on goal with purpose of a rebound or deflection for his forward group. To me, that's really important. That means, obviously right there, you read into it, it's hockey IQ that he has, realizing that he doesn't need to fire it through somebody. He just needs to get it to the net, maybe shoot it off the net just a little bit, hoping for that deflection and stuff. So it sounds really smart. Strengths listed for him is elusive skating, shot intelligence, quick release, passing, vision, and creativity. I like hearing that word creativity when you're talking about defensemen. So the hockey writers fantasy potential for him, offense 7 out of 10 and defense 6 out of 10. So sounds like he'll hopefully be a well-rounded defenseman when you're looking for somebody. Next one up, number 6, is Leon Bischel. He's drafted 18th by Dallas, ranked number 9 among North American skaters. Big boy, listed as 6'5", 216 pounds. What they say about him, best attributes are in the defensive end. He also possesses some offensive upside. For me, personally, that's a little bit of a flag, because you're talking more about the defense and the offside, depending how your league is scored. But somebody I might pass up on and choose somebody later. But he does own a heavy shot, they say. He just doesn't use it very often. Uses his size to his advantage, which makes him hard to knock off the puck. Again, is that offensively, or is that in the back end when he's getting it out of the end? That, to me, there's a little bit of flag there. Strengths are physicality, puck control, and confidence. Again, that kind of speaks... Puck control can be offense or defense, but the rest speaks to defense. The hockey writers' fantasy potential offense is only 5 out of 10, and defense is 7 out of 10. So for me personally, I'm probably passing up on Bischel in this year's draft, to be honest, depending how your league is scored. If blocks and hits are weighted heavily, that might be somebody that you look at. But you can probably get him later on in the draft and not early like he was drafted in the NHL draft. Next one is Owen Pickering. He was drafted 21st overall by Pittsburgh. He's ranked number 15 among North American skaters. Another big guy, tall, listed as 6'4", only 179 pounds though, so probably needs to run around in the shower to get wet, but he has a big frame, should fill out. What they say about him, he has excellent feet for a player his size and noticeable offensive upside. That's what I like to hear. Noticeable offensive upside and excellent feet for a player his size means his skating's probably up there. He's still a raw talent. There are consistency issues in his game, but his talent is undeniable. For me, I like hearing raw talent. Might not draft him quite as high because there is raw talent, could go either way. Consistency issues in his game. A lot of young players, there's consistency issues, so that I'm not really worried about because you can teach that. But his talent is undeniable. So that's somebody that I'm probably looking at taking a little bit later on if you can get him. Strengths are hockey IQ. Really like hearing that word. Size, skating, and shooting. I like hearing skating and shooting in there. The hockey writers put his fantasy potential, though, offense only 5 out of 10. That worries me because they have a lot more people watching these players than we do. We just get to the odd prospect, depending where you live, you might be able to watch them. And defense is rated 7 out of 10. But a lot of the time we got to rely on scouting reports, what we see, and that offensive potential kind of has me worried, even though other guys have seen some fantasy potential in them. So I'm probably holding off for a bit or looking at somebody else where there's more positive things. That number is a flag for me. Next defenseman is Sam Renzel. He's drafted 25th overall by Chicago, ranked number 19 among North American skaters. Another tall guy, 6'4", 181 pounds. What they've said about him, he's played high school, so it's harder to gauge against lower competition. Okay, I can see that. There has been some nice high school players that have developed. Known for jumping into the rush and playing a creative offensive game. That's something I really like to hear, that he's creative offensively in that. Just kind of worries a little bit since he was playing high school, but definitely somebody that I'll definitely take a look at. He's committed to University of Minnesota in 23-24. So if you're drafting him, you're holding on to him for at least 2 years till he makes the show. Probably longer coming out of university. He's probably going to spend a year in the AHL, so it's going to be more of a long-term project. His strengths are size, skilled passer, above average skater, and creativity. All things you like to hear. What the hockey writers put it as fantasy potential: offense 8 out of 10 and defense 7 out of 10. Obviously huge numbers. Does he reach that potential? Because he was playing against lower competition, so maybe that increases what they see as his potential. But yeah, I'd probably take a flyer at him. There's nothing hurt to take a guy that has an 8 out of 10 and 7 out of 10 there. Number 9 was Maverick Lamoureux, drafted 29th overall by Arizona. Number 20 ranked North American skater. Huge. 6'7", 196 pounds. Size probably tells me he's probably defensive, but let's see what they say about him. Possesses surprisingly good skating for someone that large, as his first step and top speed have taken scouts by surprise. So he can skate for how big he is. That's really good to hear. Offensively, he leaves a lot to be desired, as he mainly plays with a passive approach in the offensive zone. There's those flags that I'm talking about. A little worries me a bit. Guy that big, you're kind of looking at probably somebody like Nikita Zadorov, somebody like that. Large frame, good top speed, active stick and reach, puck moving mobility. So again, I'm probably passing on him. The hockey writers put his fantasy potential, though, offense 6 out of 10, so over 5, which is surprising. Defense 7 out of 10. Again, just with them saying there's a lot to be desired offensively, I'm probably passing on the guy, but probably going to get you a lot of hit and blocks if he does make it to the show there. Next one was Artem Duda, drafted 36th overall by Arizona, ranked number 28 among European skaters, 6'1", 181 pounds. Let's see what they say about him. First thing that stands out is his offensive ability. Something you really want to hear fantasy-wise is offensive ability. has an impressive shot, whether it's a wrister, slap shot, or one-timer. So he's not just a one-trick pony that you like to hear offensively. Not only a good shooter, his passing ability is solid as well. So he can also be a puck distributor, so getting some assists there. His strengths are shots, passing, skating, and ability to defend against the rush. So all things I want to hear personally when I'm drafting somebody in my Dynasty League. The Hockey Writers Fantasy Potential offense is 8.5 out of 10, so highest rated offensively so far. Defense is 5.5 out of 10, so his defense might hold him back where he doesn't quite progress as you want. But think about somebody like Shattenkirk when he was younger. Somebody like that, definitely take a flyer out on him and hope he develops. Next one is Ryan Chelsey, drafted 37th overall by Washington. Ranked number 18 among North American skaters. He's 6 foot even, 194 pounds. What they say about him, very strong and reliable two-way defender with great hockey sense. I like hearing the word hockey sense. Reliable kind of makes me worry a little bit because sometimes that tends to be towards the defensive side, but that could be good also. Biggest question mark and lack of offensive production. Does possess a good shot, but will it translate to the NHL? So that kind of makes me worry a little bit. His strengths are obviously his defensive play, active stick, physical, great poise, and transitional game. The only thing that I like to hear there is the transitional game is a strength. Hockey Writers Fantasy Potential, they put offense at 6 out of 10 and defense 8 out of 10. When he's rated that high defensively, probably going to be a shutdown defenseman. I'm probably staying away from Ryan Chelsey, to be honest. Next one is Noah Warren, ranked 42nd overall by Anaheim. Number 33 North American skater ranked. Big boy, 6'5", 214 pounds. So already over 200 pounds there, so he has some weight to him. What they say about him, he excels defensively, being aggressive to pressure opponents while providing his physical presence. That's one of the first things that pops up. I'm probably staying clear of him because my Dynasty League anyways is pretty much pure offense and no defense. On the offensive side of things, it isn't a strong suit, has seen some improvement in his production as he does a lot of great things to have a positive effect. So for me, possibly, depending how deep your league is, might take a flyer if he can develop his offensive game. Might be somebody I pass up on the draft, but I keep on my radar to see if I can pick him up as a prospect, or maybe sometimes you draft players that get passed on in previous drafts. That might be somebody I look at. Strengths is physicality, defensive positioning, breakout passes, active stick, and compete level. Two things that I do like there is breakout passes, because if it's a quick transition, might be able to get a secondary assist there, and compete level. All coaches love compete, so it probably makes him come up the ranks a little bit quicker there. The Hockey Writers rank him as fantasy potential. Offense 5.5 out of 10, so pretty low there, and defense 7.5 out of 10. Again, I'm probably passing on him. Depending how your league is ranked, that might be somebody that you want to look at. Next one is Matthias Havlid, drafted 45th overall by San Jose. He was the number 19 ranked European skater. Smaller, 5'10", 172 pounds, but watching the NHL, there's a lot of smaller sized defensemen now that are making names for themselves. What did they say about him? Silky smooth skating stride and sneaky good wrist shot, all the tools to be a top 4 D-man. Stuff I want to hear. The skating and a sneaky good shot. Where he stands out is his ability to make plays at top speed. Another thing, how fast the NHL is now, and if you can make plays at top speed, something that I want to hear about. Strengths is offensive creativity, skating, and breakout passes. I like hearing offensive creativity. Hockey Writers Fantasy Potential, rank him as 8.5 out of 10 on offense and defense 5 out of 10. Since he was mid-second round pick, I'm probably putting him in the back of my head there to draft late in our draft. Hopefully turns out to be a gem for me, but definitely somebody I'll be taking a look at to draft a little bit later on. Next one is Seamus Casey, drafted 46 overall by New Jersey. right after Havlet. 29th overall North American skaters ranked. Similar size, 5'10", just like Havlet, only 161 pounds, so a little bit lighter, has more room to fill out. What stands out is the skating ability, and he's a smooth skater who excels in transition. Things I want to hear when I'm talking about defensemen is skating. Has an underrated shot and can get shots through traffic consistently. Coaches love to see that you can get the puck through, so that's something, and if it's an underrated shot, that's also a good thing to hear. His strengths are skating, transition, offensive upside, and the ability to quarterback a power play. These are things that I want to hear, because a lot of the time your power play points are worth more. He has offensive upside, skating. Hockey Writers fantasy potential, rank him as 8 out of 10 offensively, and defensively 6.5 out of 10. So definitely somebody I'll definitely rank higher on my draft board than some of the defensive guys. Next one is Christian Kyrou. Jordan Kyrou's brother there. Ranked number 48 among North American skaters. Drafted 50th overall by Dallas. He's 5'11", so a little undersized, 183 pounds. But again, a lot of little smaller defensemen are making names for themselves there. What did they say? His skating ability allows him to start the rush or jump into the attack zone to create chaos. Then he uses his smarts to make the right play, whether it's a pass or a shot. Gotta love the word that he likes to create chaos when he's off on the offensive rush. That's great. He knows how to get defenders running around. So that's a good chance to get points, because broken down plays is when stuff happens for you there. Not the hardest shooter, but he's one of the most accurate. So that's good if he has an accurate shot. That means he can get it through traffic. He picks his spots, all things you want to hear. Strengths are vision, skating, high hockey IQ, puck distribution, and shot accuracy. So things, all I want to hear when I'm drafting a defenseman for my Dynasty League anyways. The Hockey Writers rank his fantasy potential, offense 9 out of 10. So the highest one we've seen so far. And defense is 7 out of 10. Now, does he reach that potential? Maybe, maybe not. But if the potential is there, that's somebody that I'm definitely looking at. Next one is Elias Salomonsson. If I say it fast, hopefully I said it right there. Sorry, but Salomonson. Anyways, drafted 55th overall by Winnipeg. Ranked number 12 among European skaters. So size is 6'1", 183 pounds. What they say about him: talent is undeniable, has all the tools to be a puck-moving top four defenseman, but struggles to utilize these tools. So what that tells me is probably going to take him a while. Going to need time to develop. Is it there? Does he reach his potential? For me, I'm probably waiting late in the draft, depending what's drafted ahead of him. Might take a flyer on him with my last pick in the draft or something of that nature. Highlight of his game is his skating. It is elite amongst his peers. That's something that I do like to hear, is elite skating. Strengths are skating, passing, shot, and playmaking. So all things you want to hear, but does he reach the potential because he struggles to utilize the tools? The Hockey Writers rank his fantasy potential as offense 7 out of 10 and defense 5 out of 10. So if he does make it, it's going to be an offensive defenseman, but does he reach that potential? Next one is Lane Hudson, drafted 62nd overall by Montreal. Ranked number 25 among North American skaters. Smallest defenseman that we've seen so far. He's only listed at 5'8", 154 pounds, but there's also Spurgeon and Ellis making a name for themselves fantasy-wise, so I don't look at size so much as I used to years ago when you needed to be a big bastard to make it to the show. Anyways, what did they say about him? Super talented kid, and he sees the game differently. He's a bit of a unicorn, and that's a good thing. That tells me something right there, that he's very good offensively, creating offense, and yeah, that's definitely something that I'm looking for there. Has the hockey IQ, skating, and passing talents of a top 10 pick. That means he's probably got dropped on a lot of boards because of his size, but definitely somebody that I'm going to look at, because we've seen a lot of small defensemen make it and excel well. The Hockey Writers put his fantasy potential as 8 out of 10, which is really high, and defense 7 out of 10. So obviously he must be knowing how to position himself well in the defensive zone, which might speed him up there. And yeah, things are looking bright. Sounds like a nice pick by Montreal there. Next one is Philip Nordberg, drafted 64th overall to Ottawa, ranked number 52 among European skaters by NHL Scouting, so really down the board. Was it a bit of a reach? We'll find out here. He's listed as 6'4", so big guy, 207 pounds, so really nice sized defenseman. What they say about him, he's extremely mobile and active two-way defender. So he's mobile, that's good, you want to hear that. He loves to jump into the rush and join the attack, but has the ability to provide a sound and defensive game. So sounds like he's probably going to project to be a well-rounded defenseman. Just with his size, probably going to develop him into a shutdown guy, but who knows there. Somebody definitely I'd take ahead of some of the other ones that are ranked lower offensively anyways. The Hockey Writers rank his fantasy potential as a 6.5 out of 10, so not bad. And his defense is 6.5 out of 10. But both of them are kind of low, so it sounds like he might be more of a long-term project guy. Next one is Kelly Odelius, drafted 65th overall by the New York Islanders. Ranked number 16 among European skaters, so he's higher ranked than what his draft position was. He's listed as 6 foot, 185 pounds. What they say about him, everything that you would want in a modern two-way puck-moving defenseman, as he displays excellent composure and situated awareness. Those are things I want to hear. Modern two-way puck-moving defenseman, you want to hear puck mover. Modern means he's not your old-style defender. He's used to playing with speed and pace. Possesses very strong playmaking abilities, especially in transition. NHL right now is all about transition, so those are good things to hear about him. The Hockey Writers rank his fantasy potential as offense 7 out of 10 and defense 7 out of 10. So that's somebody I'm probably taking ahead of some other guys there. And the last one, the 20th defenseman taken in this year's draft was Ty Nelson, 68th overall by Seattle, ranked number 32 among North American skaters. Smaller guy, 5'10", 196 pounds, short, stocky guy, I should say. That's pretty good size for how tall he is there. What they say about him, possesses explosive speed jumping into the rush. So that, you want to hear about speed. NHL is all about speed right now. You want to hear about that. So that's telling me that he could have some good offensive upside there. Is an ideal power play quarterback. Excuse me. That's something you want to hear. Somebody that can quarterback the power play. Weighted a little bit higher in a lot of fantasy leagues there. Probably going to be more worthwhile fantasy-wise. His strengths are his skating, passing, shot, and hockey IQ. Again, hearing that word hockey IQ, somebody that I'm probably going to take a long look at, depending how your draft pans out in your league. The Hockey Writers rank his fantasy potential as offense at 7 out of 10 and defense 6 out of 10. I do like the offensive fantasy potential there, so I'm probably going to take a look at Ty Nelson there, and getting drafted by Seattle. There's obviously not a deep prospect pool, so he probably moves up the ranks a little bit quicker. Do hope you did enjoy today's episode. If you're watching on YouTube, please remember to hit like, hit subscribe, remember that notification bell. And if you're listening via podcast, again, thanks for listening, and we'll be out in a few days with our top 30 forwards. And enjoy the rest of fantasy off season and prepping for your draft there, fantasy owners.